For 2,000 years, the Catholic Church chose its leaders in a very peculiar way and from very specific places. Most of the church leaders, and here I'm talking about the Pope, which is the highest rank in the Catholic Church, was chosen from either Europe, Latin America, or even Africa. But in 2025, a Pope from the United States, exactly from Chicago, was chosen and rose to the rank of a Pope of the Catholic Church. This may seem to a lot of people as a very normal decision and a very normal event, but this was a historic event that stirred a lot of controversy among some people. There are some people that agreed with the choosing or the choice of Pope Leo XIV. This was the name that he chose for himself, but others disagreed and thought that maybe this had something to do with politics. Today, we are going to dive into the world of religion through both information and language. You are going to learn a lot of facts, a lot of information, a lot of maybe new ideas about how the Pope is chosen in the Catholic Church. You are going also to learn a lot about the ranks and different types and different branches of the Catholic Church. You will also learn, alongside all these pieces of information, lots of vocabulary related to theology. Theology is the study of religion. So you are going to learn words about places of religion, about people related to religion, like religious men. You are also going to learn a lot of adjectives that you can describe your feelings about religion or about different things in the world. Today, you are going to dive with WooEnglish into the world of religion and especially the Catholic Church. This is another story, another audiobook. Today's story will be a B1 story, meaning it will be very, very nice for intermediates. It's tailor-made for them. It will be a bit challenging for beginners, a bit too comfortable for advanced students, but still it will be suitable and beneficial for anyone who will watch this video. Before, of course, you go and watch chapter 1 of this video, make sure to go down, subscribe if this is your first time discovering this channel. This is a real gem on YouTube. It teaches you English through stories, through audiobooks. So you can listen to our audiobooks while you are doing your house chores, while you are doing your morning walk, maybe while you are at the gym. So you can be doing multiple things while you are learning and improving your English. If you have already subscribed, make sure to click that like button. That's one of the greatest way you can help this channel grow even more and reach more and more learners that really need to work on their English. Of course, before you or after you finish watching this video, make sure to go down to the comment section, leave us your opinion, and also participate in the quiz about today's audiobook to test your understanding. Without further ado, let's jump to chapter number 1.
Chapter 1. White Smoke. 100,000 people stand in silence. No one moves. No one speaks. The evening light falls across St. Peter's Square, soft and golden. But no one is looking at the light. Every face, every eye, is pointed at one place. A small chimney on the roof of the Sistine Chapel. That chimney holds the answer to a question the whole world is asking. Who will lead 1.4 billion Catholics? It is the 8th of May, 2025. 17 days ago, Pope Francis died. He was 88 years old. He died on Easter Monday. Quietly, in his room at the Vatican. The world mourned him. Millions watched his funeral on television. His simple wooden coffin moved through the same square where this crowd is standing now. But grief cannot last forever. The Church needs a leader, and the process of choosing one is ancient. Inside the Sistine Chapel, behind doors that no one can open from outside, 133 cardinals sit together. They have been here since yesterday. No phones, no cameras, no contact with the outside world. They pray They think. They vote. After each vote, they burn the papers. If no one wins, the smoke is black. Black smoke means, wait, the crowd has already seen black smoke twice today. Twice, the hope rose. Twice, it fell. Now it is 6 o'clock in the evening. The air is cool. A woman near the front of the crowd holds a small cross in her hand. Her eyes are closed. Her lips are moving. A prayer, but no sound. Behind her, a journalist speaks into a camera. His voice is low and careful. Around them, pilgrims from every continent wait together. Old and young, rich and poor. Believers and people who came simply because they felt something historic was happening. Then, at 7 minutes past 6, it happens. White smoke rose above the Vatican. At first, only a few people see it. A thin line of white against the dark sky. Then more people look up. Then everyone. The sound begins slowly. A whisper that becomes a voice that becomes a shout that becomes a roar. White smoke. That means one thing. They have chosen a pope. The bells of St. Peter's begin to ring, heavy and deep. The sound moves across the square like a wave. People cry. People hold each other. Strangers hug strangers. A man falls to his knees on the stone ground and covers his face with his hands. But the question is not answered yet. The smoke says yes. The smoke does not say who. Minutes pass. The crowd grows louder. More people push into the square from every street around it. Television cameras from 40 countries point at one place, the balcony above the entrance of St. Peter's Basilica. The red curtains are still closed. Then the curtains move. A cardinal steps forward. He speaks in Latin. Old words, repeated for centuries. Most people do not understand the words, but they understand the moment. He announces the name. Robert Francis Prevost. In the crowd, some people recognize the name immediately. Most do not. He is not famous. He is not a name that newspapers printed every week before this day. He was not the candidate that most people expected. Then the cardinal says the chosen name, Leo XIV. And then the information moves through the crowd like electricity. He is American. He is the first American pope in history. For 2,000 years, the Catholic Church has chosen its leaders from Europe, from Latin America, from Africa, but never from the United States, until now. The balcony curtains open again. A man in white steps forward. He is 69 years old. His face is calm. His hands are steady. He looks down at the crowd below him. 100,000 faces looking back. His first words are simple. Peace be with all of you. He speaks slowly. He thanks the cardinals who elected him. He speaks about Peru, the country where he worked for 20 years. He speaks about Pope Francis, the man who came before him. His voice is quiet but clear. No drama, no performance, just a man standing on a balcony, carrying a weight that did not exist an hour ago. Below him, the crowd is still growing. Some people are praying. Some people are filming with their phones. Some people are crying without knowing why. In Chicago, in a neighborhood called Dolton, someone turns on a television. In Lima, Church bells ring without anyone asking them to. In Chiclayo, a small city in northern Peru, thousands fill the main square and watch on a large screen. Millions watched the ceremony live. But watching is one thing. Understanding is another. Who is this man? Where did he come from? Why did 133 cardinals from every part of the world choose him? The white smoke has cleared. The bells have stopped. The name has been spoken. But the story is only beginning. Chapter 2. The Quiet Man from Chicago. A boy sits at a kitchen table in a small house. The neighborhood is called Dolton. It is a quiet place, just south of Chicago. The houses are not large. The streets are not famous. Nobody who lives here expects to change the world. The boy's name is Robert. Robert Francis Prevost. His father's family came from France and Italy. His mother's family came from Spain. The kitchen smells like coffee and bread. Outside, the sound of cars on the road. Inside, a simple life. This boy will become the most powerful religious leader on earth. But nobody knows that yet. Not even him. Robert grows up in a Catholic family. He goes to church every Sunday. He listens to the priest speak during Mass. He watches the congregation pray together. He does not ask many questions out loud. But inside, something is moving. He is a good student. At Villanova University in Pennsylvania, he studies mathematics. Not religion, not philosophy. Mathematics, numbers, logic, systems. This surprises many people later. A future pope, who began with numbers. But numbers teach something important. Patience. The ability to look at a problem carefully and find the answer step by step. He will need this skill for the rest of his life. After university, something changes. The direction of his life turns. He does not choose business. He does not choose a career in science. He chooses faith. In 1977, at the age of 22, Robert joins the Order of St. Augustine. He becomes a friar, a man who gives his life to God, to prayer, and to service. 5 years later, in 1982, he is ordained as a priest. But he does not stay in Chicago. He does not stay in the United States. He goes somewhere most Americans would never choose to go. Peru. Not Lima, the capital. Not a comfortable city with international hotels and English-speaking colleagues. He goes to the north, to small towns, to villages where the roads are made of dust and the churches are made of wood. He works as a parish priest. He teaches at a seminary. He helps local communities organize themselves. He speaks Spanish every day until it becomes part of him. The people around him are poor. Many of them work in agriculture. Many of them have never left their province. He spoke about poverty before power. This was not a political statement. This was his daily life. He saw poverty with his own eyes, every single day, for 20 years. 20 years. Think about that number. A man from Chicago, living in rural Peru, for 2 decades, not visiting, not volunteering for a summer. Living. He ate the same food as the people he served. He walked the same roads. He listened to the same problems, week after week, year after year. In 2014, something changes again. The Vatican notices him. Pope Francis, the Pope from Argentina, appoints Robert as Bishop of Chiclayo. Chiclayo is a city in northern Peru, not large, not famous, but real. A bishop leads the church in a region. He makes decisions. He guides priests. He speaks to the faithful. Robert does this quietly. No headlines, no controversy. He listens before he speaks. He speaks less than most bishops. But when he speaks, people listen. In 2023, Pope Francis promotes him to Archbishop. 1 year later, Cardinal. A cardinal is one of the highest positions in the Catholic Church. Cardinals are the men who elect the next pope. They are advisors, decision-makers, the inner circle of the Vatican. But even as a cardinal, Robert Francis Prevost remains quiet. He does not give long interviews. He does not appear on magazine covers. He does not build a public image. While other cardinals were discussed as possible popes, his name was rarely mentioned. Vatican experts called him a dark horse, a candidate that nobody expects to win. But sometimes, the person who listens the most is the one people trust the most. Before the conclave, he was moved to Rome. Pope Francis asked him to lead the dicastery for bishops. This is the office that helps choose bishops around the world. A man who had spent 20 years in small Peruvian villages was now helping decide who leads the church in every country. He walked through the marble halls of the Vatican. He sat in rooms where decisions shaped the lives of 1.4 billion people. He read reports from every continent. But colleagues say he never changed. He still listened first. He still spoke carefully. He still carried Peru inside him, like a second heartbeat. When asked about his background, he once said something simple. I am a son of Augustine. St. Augustine lived more than 1,600 years ago. He believed in grace, in listening, in understanding human weakness before judging it. Robert chose those values when he was 22 years old. He never left them. And when the white smoke cleared on the 8th of May, and his name was announced to the world, many people asked the same question. Who is this man? The answer is not complicated. A boy from a small house near Chicago. A priest who chose Peru over comfort. A bishop who listened more than he spoke. A cardinal that nobody expected. And now, the leader of the oldest institution on earth. But a name and a title are not the full story. The real question is not who he was. The real question is why they chose him. And that answer is not simple at all. Chapter 3. Behind Closed Doors.
Now, after watching Chapter 1 and 2, I think you have learned a lot about the Catholic Church, a lot of things about the proceedings, the procedures that go about the people involved in the Catholic Church, and also a lot of words related to religion and church. So make sure to go down to the comment section now, write for us 2 words, especially you will do a great job if you can write them for us in a sentence. This is a great way to use the new vocabulary you have learned and to remember it better. So go use 1 or 2 words that you have learned from Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 in a full, complete sentence. Of course, on your way up to continue watching the video, make sure to click that like button to help this channel grow, to help this video reach more people. Let's go to chapter number 3 now.
On the 21st of April, 2025, the world woke up to silence. Pope Francis was dead. He died on Easter Monday, quietly. In his small room at the Casa Santa Marta inside the Vatican, he was 88 years old. For 12 years, he had led the Catholic Church. He was the first pope from Latin America, the first to choose the name Francis, the first to live in a simple guest house instead of the grand papal apartment. He had spoken about the poor, about migrants, about climate change, about mercy. Some loved him deeply. Some criticized him strongly. But no one ignored him. His health had been failing for months. In February, he entered hospital with pneumonia. Both lungs were infected. He stayed for 38 days. When he returned to the Vatican, he looked thin and tired. His last public appearance was the day before Easter. He sat in a wheelchair. He could not read his own message. Another person read it for him. The next morning, he was gone. 250,000 people came to see his body in St. Peter's Basilica. The line stretched through the streets of Rome for hours. His funeral was simple, as he had requested. A plain wooden coffin. No gold, no decoration. He was buried not inside the Vatican, but at the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore, a church he loved, a place where he used to pray before a painting of the Virgin Mary. And then the question arrived, the question that always arrives. Who comes next? The rules are old, older than most countries. After a pope dies, the cardinals wait. They pray. They meet. They discuss. And then, between 15 and 20 days later, they enter the conclave. The word conclave comes from Latin. It means with a key. Because the doors are locked, nobody enters, nobody leaves, until white smoke rises. On the 7th of May, 133 cardinals walked into the Sistine Chapel. They came from every continent, from Nigeria and Germany, from the Philippines and Brazil, from India and the United States. Above their heads, the paintings of Michelangelo covered the ceiling, the same ceiling that has watched this ceremony for more than 500 years. Each cardinal carried one thing in his mind. What does the Church need now? This question is never easy, and in 2025, it was harder than usual. The Church was divided. On one side, conservative voices wanted to protect tradition. They wanted a pope who would defend the old doctrines, who would speak clearly about what is right and what is wrong, who would not change too much, too fast. On the other side, progressive voices wanted reform. They wanted a pope who would continue what Francis had started, who would open the Church to new conversations, who would address the modern world honestly. Two directions. One chair. Before the conclave, newspapers printed lists of candidates. Favorites, frontrunners, names that Vatican experts repeated in every article. Cardinal Pietro Parolin from Italy, the Vatican's Secretary of State. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle from the Philippines, a man known for his warmth. Several European cardinals with long experience in church leadership. Robert Prevost's name was almost never on those lists. Not because he was weak, not because he was unknown to the cardinals, but because of one simple fact. He was American. For decades, Vatican experts had agreed on one rule. An American could never become pope. The reason was power. The United States is the most powerful country in the world. Its military operates in every region. Its economy influences every market. Its culture reaches every screen. Many cardinals feared that an American pope would look like a political choice. a symbol of one country's influence over the universal church. How could the Bishop of Rome be a citizen of the nation that controls the most weapons on earth? This was the barrier, invisible, unwritten, but real. And yet, on the 8th of May, the cardinals broke it. The first vote gave no result. The second vote gave no result. The third vote gave no result. Then came the fourth. Later, several cardinals spoke to journalists. They were not supposed to. The conclave is secret, but the news was too large to contain. One cardinal said Prevost received a magnificent score. Another said the number was over 100 votes, out of 133. This was not a close election. This was not a compromise in the usual sense. This was a decision that the vast majority agreed on. Why? Because Robert Prevost was not really American in the way they feared. Yes, he was born in Chicago. Yes, he held an American passport. But he had lived in Peru for 20 years. He spoke Spanish as naturally as English. He understood Latin America from the inside. He had served the poor, not studied them from a distance. He was American by birth. But he was something larger by experience, and the name he chose confirmed this. Leo XIV. He chose this name in honor of Pope Leo XIII, a pope from the 19th century who lived through the Industrial Revolution, a time when machines replaced workers, when cities filled with smoke and poverty, when the gap between the rich and the poor became enormous. Leo XIII wrote about justice for workers, about fairness, about the responsibility of the powerful toward the weak. By choosing this name, Robert Prevost sent a clear message. We are living through a new revolution. Artificial intelligence, automation, a world where technology is changing faster than society can follow. And the Church must speak about this, not from the past, from the present. The Church is changing, slowly. The cardinals knew this. They chose a man who understood both the old world and the new one. A man with roots in the richest country on earth, and hands that had touched the poorest soil. But not everyone agreed. Not everyone celebrated. Not everyone believed this was the right choice. Not everyone welcomed the decision. And the reasons for that will become clear very soon. Chapter 4. When Faith Meets Power. The congratulations came fast. Presidents, prime ministers, kings. From Washington, President Donald Trump called it a great honor for the country. His vice president, J.D. Vance, a Catholic himself, said that Christians everywhere should pray for the new pope. From Europe, leaders spoke of hope. From Latin America, celebration. In Peru, thousands filled the streets of Chiclayo and cried with joy. This was their bishop, their priest, the man who had walked their roads for 20 years. For a few days, the world seemed united. It did not last. The first sign came quietly, before the conclave, before the white smoke. Robert Prevost had a social media account. On that account, he had shared articles that criticized the American government's treatment of migrants, articles that questioned policies on immigration, a message supporting Black Lives Matter after the killing of George Floyd, a message supporting vaccination during the pandemic. These were not hidden. Anyone could read them. And after his election, everyone did. Some people read these posts and felt hope. A pope who understands the real world. A pope who is not afraid to speak. Others read the same posts and felt concern. A pope who takes political sides. A pope who criticizes his own country. The division had already begun. In September 2025, 5 months after his election, Pope Leo spoke to a group of journalists. His words were careful, but they were clear. He talked about migrants in American detention centers. He said that someone who claims to be against abortion but supports the inhuman treatment of immigrants cannot truly call themselves pro-life. The White House responded within hours. A spokesperson denied any mistreatment. But the message was already traveling around the world. In October, the Pope spoke to labor unions in Chicago, his own city. He asked them to fight for immigrants' rights. In November, he called for a deep reflection on American immigration policy. Each time he spoke, the reaction grew louder. Some celebrated, some criticized. Faith and politics do not always agree. But the real storm came later. In early 2026, war spread across the Middle East. The United States and Israel launched military operations against Iran. The conflict grew fast. Missiles flew, civilians died, the region burned. Pope Leo spoke. He called for peace. He called for dialogue. He said that no war should be justified in the name of God. And then he said something that no one could ignore. He called the threat to destroy Iranian civilization truly unacceptable. The response from Washington was immediate. President Trump attacked the Pope publicly. He called him weak on crime. He called him terrible on foreign policy. He suggested that the Pope should be grateful for his election, implying that Leo became Pope only because Trump was president. The Vice President told the Pope to stay out of politics, to focus on morality, not foreign affairs, an American president attacking the first American Pope. The world watched. Pope Leo did not shout back. He did not trade insults. He did not play the game of social media anger. He stood in front of reporters on a plane flying over Africa and said something quiet. I have no fear of the Trump administration or speaking out loudly of the message of the gospel. We are not politicians. We don't deal with foreign policy the way he might understand it. But I believe in the message of the gospel as a peacemaker. No anger, no drama, just clarity. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops supported the Pope. They said his words were consistent with the Church's teaching on just war. That war must be a defense, not an attack. But in American living rooms, the debate was louder. Some Catholics agreed with Leo. They said peace is the heart of the gospel. They said a pope must speak the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Other Catholics disagreed. They said the Pope does not understand the reality of war. They said Iran is dangerous. They said a leader must protect his people, not preach from a distance. In 2024, 55% of American Catholics voted for Trump. The Pope's words did not change that loyalty for many. This is the tension that lives inside the story of Pope Leo XIV. He is American, but he challenges America. He is Catholic, but not all Catholics agree with him. He speaks about peace, but the world is at war. He asks for unity, but division follows him everywhere he goes. This is not new. Every pope in history has faced this. The space between what the church teaches and what the world does. The gap between the sermon and the street. But for Leo, it is more personal than for any pope before him, because he comes from the country that holds the most power, and he leads the institution that asks for the most restraint. Power and restraint. They do not sit easily in the same room, and they never have. But perhaps that is exactly why the cardinals chose him, not despite the tension, because of it. Chapter 5. The Road Ahead. A helicopter flies low over red soil. Below it, thousands of people line the road. They wave cloths in the air, white cloths, yellow cloths. Some hold photographs of a man in white. Children sit on their parents' shoulders to see above the crowd. Women sing. Men clap. The dust rises and the sun presses down on everything. This is Angola, April 2026. Pope Leo XIV is in Africa. His first trip will be to Africa. Those were the words many people predicted when he was elected. They were almost right. His first trip was to Turkey and Lebanon in November 2025. But Africa was always the destination that mattered most. 11 days, 4 countries, Algeria, Cameroon, Angola, Equatorial Guinea. This is not a holiday. This is not diplomacy in the traditional sense. This is a man walking into the parts of the world that most powerful leaders avoid. In Algeria, he spoke about the relationship between Muslims and Christians. He stood in a country where Catholics number fewer than 10,000 and spoke about shared dignity, about love, about peace in a world full of division. In Cameroon, he visited Bamenda, a city at the center of a civil conflict that has lasted nearly 10 years, a conflict most of the world has never heard of. He stood in a cathedral and spoke to people who live with violence every day. He did not offer solutions. He offered presence. Sometimes, being there is the message. He spoke to the leaders of Cameroon about corruption. He told them that public resources belong to the people, that the rule of law is not optional, that trust must be earned, not demanded. He looked at a president who has held power for over 40 years, and he said these words to his face. In Angola, 100,000 people gathered for Mass. In a country that suffered 27 years of civil war. In a country where 1/3 of the population lives below the poverty line, despite enormous oil wealth. He told them to look to the future with hope. He told them that the Lord walks beside those who suffer. He knelt at a shrine called Mama Muxima, Mother of the Heart, a small church built in the 17th century on a hill above a river. He prayed the rosary with young people. He asked them to build a world without war, without injustice, without poverty. A simple request, an impossible request. But he made it anyway. Throughout this trip, one word appeared again and again. Peace. He used it in every speech, in every blessing, in every prayer. Peace in the Middle East. Peace in Ukraine. Peace in the forgotten conflicts of Africa that never reach the front pages of Western newspapers. He spoke about those who profit from war. He called them a handful of tyrants. He said they spend billions on destruction while millions have nothing. These words were not aimed at one government. They were aimed at a system. A global system where weapons are more profitable than schools, where borders matter more than people, where power is measured in missiles, not in mercy. Whether you agree with him or not, this is what he believes, and he is not afraid to say it. In a few weeks, on the 8th of May, 2026, Pope Leo will mark 1 year since his election. 1 year. In that time, he has spoken about immigration and faced criticism from his own country's government. He has spoken about war and been attacked by the most powerful man in the world. He has traveled to places where no camera crew wanted to follow. He has prayed in churches that most people will never see. He has not changed the world. No pope has. No pope can. But he has asked a question that the world does not want to hear. What kind of future are we building? A future where technology creates wealth, but not fairness. A future where artificial intelligence replaces jobs, but not suffering. A future where nations grow stronger, but people grow more alone? He chose the name Leo for a reason. Because the last Leo faced the Industrial Revolution, and this Leo faces something just as large. A boy from a kitchen in Dalton, a priest in the dust of Peru, a bishop who listened, a cardinal no one expected, and now a pope standing on red African soil, asking the world to stop and think. You do not have to be Catholic to hear this question. You do not have to be religious. You do not have to agree with a single word he says. But the question remains. It does not go away because you ignore it. It does not disappear because it is uncomfortable. What kind of world do we want? And who, if not us, will build it? The white smoke has cleared. The name has been spoken. The man in white is walking across a continent. The story is not finished. It is barely beginning.
And with this, we arrive to the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed this journey inside the Catholic Church, inside the world of religion. I hope you have improved, maybe learned the law vocabulary related to religion. Make sure to share with us some of the new words that you have learned from this video. And before you go, of course, make sure to participate in the quiz. You would find it in the comment section. It's always pinned in the first comment. Like this video if you have enjoyed it. Like it if your vocabulary now is larger than it was before you started watching. And if you like to have the paper format, the PDF version of the story you have watched today, or any of the stories we had on WooEnglish, make sure just to go to our website, www.wooenglish.com. You will find all our amazing stories in PDF format. Print them, they are free, they are yours. Do them, leave your traces, write on the paper, whatever you want. And with this, we come to the end. Thank you so much for watching. See you in another video.